And there was like 11 kids in this classroom. I remember walking in, and there was Patrick. Patrick had one arm with the pinchers, and they made fun of him, and they called him Captain Hook. And I remember one time at recess, this kid got in a fight with him and ripped his arm off and threw it over the fence. And there was Jessica, and Jessica never said anything to anybody, and she had all these lesions on her body, and we wondered what all these sores were, but see, we didn't understand that at home. That's where her father would put his cigarettes out. And there was Russell, another black kid in the room, and he never said anything because they called him Stuttering Russell because he stuttered, and it crushed him. And I remember asking myself, how did I get here? And every other kid looked really different, and we never said anything. I just sat in the third row and sat quietly. The aide stood in the doorway, and then something magical happens. The woman you saw in that video, she comes in with something different. She comes in with a different step, and she comes into the room, and she says, "Welcome to room 315. I am so honored that you have joined our kingdom. All of you are significant. You are magnificent. I'm so glad to have you. How are you, young men? How are you? How are you, young ladies? How are you? How are you? And how are you?" She went around and she shook every one of her hands. She got close. She got intimate. She looked into her eyes, and all of a sudden, we realized that something was different. And see, the thing about it is, this is 1977. Crack wasn't out back then, so we know she wasn't a crackhead. And so we said she can't be a crackhead. So what is going on? So we're thinking maybe she's high on drugs because nobody talks to us like that. It's impossible because nobody likes us. But yet, in this room, she said, this is our kingdom. And she says, if you are a male, you are a king. If you are a female, you are a queen. And we will treat each other like royalty. And she said, you will respect each other. You will honor each other. We are a family. And it doesn't matter what's on that door out there because somebody's opinion of you does not have to be your reality. She said it's not about what people call you. It's about what you answer to. And all of a sudden, we all started getting loose, and we sat up in our chairs, and we were, for the first time in many of our lives, we were proud, and we were honored, and we were validated. See, children in the system, they need to be validated. They need to be understood. They need to be heard. They need to know that somebody cares. It sounds cliche, but it's the small things that make the biggest difference. And for us in our young 8-year-old minds, even though I went back home and I was the kid who was stupid, the kid who was nobody, the kid who would never be anything, the idiot, the bastard, the son of a bitch, excuse my language. But at school, I was just the kid who somebody loved, the young kid who somebody understood, the young kid that Miss Ritchie would get down and she would say, Mark, everything's going to be okay. And for me, I began to love school. I began to become alive. And I would go home, and I didn't care if my mom put me in my room or beat me or whatever. At school, I was validated. I was somebody special. So the first thing kids need is to know that they are significant. They need to know that they are important because sometimes we look at that and we think that it's just something that, well, maybe. But see, as adults, don't we need the same thing? Don't we need to be validated? How many wives are in the room? How many wives? Okay, some of you guys did that very reluctantly. I understand. It's okay. A lady back there's like, oh, Jesus, yes, me. 12 years. Oh, my God. So tired. I understand. But ladies, have you ever cooked a good meal or did something really great for your significant other and you never got a thank you? No, the lady was like, I just did it yesterday. Right. And the thing about it is wasn't just the effort, but it's just a simple validation of thank you. I appreciate you. I value you. And some guys, we look at Valentine's Day and think those are insignificant days. Oh, it's just Valentine's Day. It's not about the day. It's about the action, about the validation that the person that you love is important. It's the small things. And the thing about it is, when we begin to look at this, my whole premise is that we are more than just our titles. In the essence of what it is we do, we are lifesavers. That is the profession we're in. It's not police officers or caseworkers or case aid or managers or CEOs. We're in the profession of saving lives. How do I know? Because I am still here. I am still breathing. Lydia is still alive. Lucas is still alive. Joseph is still alive. Because somebody cared. So when we begin to look at this, the question is, well, what does this mean? Well, it is believed that each of us is born with a unique life purpose. Identifying, acknowledging, and honoring this purpose is perhaps the most important action successful people take. They take the necessary time to understand what they're here to do, and then they pursue that with passion and what? Enthusiasm. Everybody say that. Passion and enthusiasm. Can you tell that I'm pretty passionate about what I do? Can you tell that I'm enthusiastic? I am, and I am very high ADD too. So that's the question. I've taken no medication today, but I don't care because I'm highly functioning, and I have been this way since I'm 3 years old, and I will not go to sleep until 2 o'clock this morning, but I don't care. It doesn't matter because somebody told me that I was significant. Somebody told me that I was important. Somebody told me that I mattered. And there was like 11 kids in this classroom. I remember